largest one. So therefore, we abbreviate this as maxi-max. So therefore, the optimist says, let's go with the stocks. The pessimist says, let's go with the bank. Okay? This is, again, there's no probabilities in here. All we have is based upon the alternatives, the states of nature, and the payoffs. Okay? Now, you say, I got two ways of making decisions. This is a pessimist, this is an optimist. Like I say, all gamblers are optimists. Anybody who thinks something rare is going to occur, you're an optimist, and so forth. This is known as being bullish on America. This is known as being bearish on America. Like when they used to have, you know, these always these symbols there of the animals, the pessimist and the optimist. Okay. Merrill Lynch used to have a picture of a bull in front of their building there, and the pessimist, of course, was the bear. Okay. Now you say, yeah. Right now, you're telling me this alternative, and this is states of nature, and the payoffs, what's the probability of these events occurring? Well, a lot of times you say, I don't know. You say, well, if I don't know, most of the time people say, well, if I don't really know, it's 50-50. You know, it's like a lot of times you go out and you say to someone, what's the probability of winning a proposal? If there's 5 people bidding, you say 1/5. If there's 10 people bidding, 1/10. So you're giving, are those really probabilities? No, they're just judgmental things, but we go with them. So we'll say, let's assume that the probability of prosperity is only 2 columns. So prosperity was called P1 equals a half. And the second one, P2, this recession equals a half. Equally likely to occur. So how do we do that? Well, what we do is this. We take the items here, and we come up with something called equally likely. Equally likely. Okay. Equally likely. And equally likely, you say, these 2 events are equally likely to occur. So therefore, the magical formula is E equals the summation XP of X. That means the summation of the event times the probability of the event. In this case here, we come up with an E1, and we come up with an E2. E1, we take this times a half plus this times a half, so we get what? 4.1 times a half plus 4.0 times a half. If we work this out, it comes out to be 4.05. If you work this out, this times a half plus this times a half is 4.05. And for E2, we take the figure here at the second row, 20 times a half plus a minus. Notice here, this is losing money. Minus 30 times a half. And we work this out. This comes out to be what? So this is 10 minus 15, so this is minus 5. Okay? So, between making 4.05 and losing 5%, this is the largest value. So this becomes called the equally likely. Equally likely. And this becomes, so in this case here, it's 4.05. And this becomes, so therefore in this case here, you go with the bank. So far, you got bank, stocks, bank. Okay. Now, we've talked about 3 different ways of making decisions. Pessimist, optimistic, equally likely. You say which one is better. We can't tell you which one is better. It depends upon your circumstances. If you have to insure something, a lot of times it pays there to take an pessimistic viewpoint and pay extra for registration, so if it gets lost, you get it back. Another way we have is we look at this and you say, well, this is when you have a pessimist, optimist, equally likely. But a lot of times we have situations there, we say, gee whiz, if I had only done this, if I had only invested in this a long time ago, I would have so much money now, or if I did do this, I would be so much richer, or so forth. So therefore, we have what's called a regret matrix. What do we mean by a regret matrix? A regret matrix says, if I had only known what was going to occur in the future, what would my regret be? So we start talking about, what do you mean by regret? Is it money? Chances are no. the